from disclose.tv on X, citing an article from Reuters. And this went crazy viral yesterday. Absolutely insane. 26.3 million views just since yesterday, like 24 hours ago. Just in, Trump to withhold disaster funding for states and cities who boycott Israel. And people went berserk on the political left, which you can expect, of course, but we shouldn't be surprised by people going berserk on the political left because that's what they do. They're the demonic people, demon-possessed people, and so they go berserk, and, of course they hate God. They hate God, they hate God's word. Of course they're going to hate, God's people. They're going to hate Israel. They're going to hate the Jews. They hate all of Western civilization. They hate America. They hate themselves. They're people of hate. And so, of course, you'd expect them to go berserk. But so many on the political right also went totally berserk. And, of course, you'd expect the typical anti-Semites on the right, that we know and loathe. You got Tucker Carlson, you got Candace Owens, you got the Hodge twins, you got Jake Shields, you got Dan. I've never even cared to learn the guy's last name because he's just the most vile filth out there. But you also have people like Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh, and he just increasingly is getting more and more on this Israel-hating bandwagon. And it's like, you know what? President Trump just may know something that you guys don't. Okay? And I praise God Almighty that God saved President Trump's life on July 13 of 2024 and raised him up to be president for such a time as this. A man who does not forsake Israel, does not abandon Israel, but stands with Israel and has given Israel the green light that we are here to support you to enter Gaza and hunt down Hamas and conquer Gaza. Because that is exactly what needs to happen. Israel needs to conquer Gaza and relocate the entire population. That is what they need to do. And what needs to happen is that Gaza needs to be fully and completely under the control of either Israel or the United States of America. And I don't think, even though President Trump hasn't spoken about it for months now, I don't think that President Trump has forgotten what he's talked about months ago. MAGA. Let's turn it from the Gaza Strip to the MAGA Strip. Let's actually turn that strip of land into a property owned and operated and controlled and run by the United States of America. How incredible that would be. Extraordinary that would be. That would be such a blessing for America, because America first is also looking to supporting our allies, because if we are standing firm with Israel, that is actually for our benefit as well. Incredible benefit. As it is a mutual friendship between America and Israel. And we provide Israel with a tremendous amount of benefit, and Israel also provides us with a tremendous amount of benefit. Working together. It's a beautiful union, beautiful friendship that needs to be strengthened against all of these insane voices. And so when it comes to Trump to withhold disaster funding for states and cities who boycott Israel, what states and cities do you think would be boycotting Israel? Which of those states and which of those cities do you think would actually be boycotting Israel? Maybe that's right, the solid blue states and cities. The demon rat states and cities. The types of people that we would see on college campuses like Penn and Berkeley and Columbia and Stanford and Yale and Harvard. These absolutely insane people that hate, once again, they don't just hate Israel. They hate everything about all of the West, including the United States of America. The same people that love socialism and love communism and, yes, love Islam. Do you think that President Trump has a clue about who the enemy actually is? He knows perfectly well who the enemy is. The greatest enemies we face are the ideologies of leftism, which is leftism, Marxism, socialism, communism. It's all wrapped up in this leftism ideology, and Islam. Those are the two primary enemies. Enemies not just of the United States, but the enemies of the West and the whole world. President Trump is smart enough to know that. And so he's putting pressure on these blue cities and these blue states to say, don't you dare boycott our friend. You stand with our friend because our friend stands with us, and together we are fighting against the greatest evils in this world. But yeah, people, political left, political right, they lost their minds over this. You can just hop on X and you will find, I swear to you, as I was going through my feed yesterday, I must have come across 200 plus individual pages, many of them on the political right, who are just freaking out over this. And it's like, why are you freaking out over this? Why? Do you think that these people, these demon rats that embrace all of the evils of this world and embrace communism and Islam and all of this, do you think that these are actual, Americans? Real Americans? They're not Americans. Because to be an American is so much more than just, oh, you were born here. And that's how it's been abused now for generations, right? You have all of these people that would just cross the border, even illegally. Got a 9-month pregnant woman from Mexico. She crosses the border, gives birth in America. Therefore, bam, this child is now an American citizen, even though this child is going to be raised to not value the West, not value our culture, our society, our way of life, wants to honestly have nothing to do with the American way of life, which is, it from Superman, truth, justice, and the American way. Truth and justice is what America has been about. That's why you get all of these leftists and Democrats and all of these illegal immigrants in LA and these other blue cities and blue states, that when it comes to any flag they're waving, are they waving the American flag? No, they're burning the American flag, and they're waving the flag of Mexico. That's not an American. That has nothing to do with being an American. Same thing when it comes to embracing these evil ideologies. These are not Americans. True, real Americans are God-loving, God-fearing men and women who fight for truth, justice, and the American way. That is an American. These blue cities and blue states, they're not even Americans. And yet you get all these people on left and on the right, so many of them on the right, that they're losing their minds. They're like, oh, look, Trump is withholding disaster funding for states and cities who boycott Israel. Good. Good. And anyone out there who doesn't actually have the correct perspective on what President Trump is doing, you're blind, including Matt Walsh. I praise God for Matt Walsh for the good things that he has done in fighting the evil of transgenderism. Praise God Almighty that we had Matt Walsh to fight against the evil of transgenderism. But when he freaks out over this, you're wrong. You are dead wrong. All of these people are dead wrong. President Trump is the one who actually is in the right here. You know the hat? It's not the MAGA hat, Make America Great Again hat. It's the other hat that was created. That is, President Trump was right. He was correct about everything. Yep. And he's right about this too. He knows what to do. He's the one that God has chosen for such a time as this. He didn't choose, praise God Almighty, he didn't choose Kamala Harris. And he didn't choose any of these influencers. Okay? He didn't choose Candace Owens to lead America. He didn't choose Tucker Carlson to lead America. He didn't choose Matt Walsh to lead America, or any of these others that more and more and more are revealing their colors, their real colors. And their real colors is really showing this position of America first, and anyone else, F them. Especially Israel. F Israel. We don't care about Israel. In fact, we hate Israel. Israel's committing genocide against the Palestinians. You have bought the lie of Hollywood and the lie of these Islamists, these jihadists, hook, line, and sinker.